This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Dignity Memorial, caring for our communities with a network of funeral homes and cemeteries in Virginia and throughout North America. More information about Dignity Memorial's providers is online at dignitymemorial.com.
Alpha Natural Resources. Consistent with its Running Right process, Alpha is an energy company committed to being a leader in mine safety and an environmental steward. We fuel progress around the world. More information at alphanr.com.
The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community, working in legislative, regulatory, and political arenas to promote the free enterprise system. Information at vachamber.com. Virginia hospitals and health systems provide jobs. They support our economy and promote public health. Local hospitals are always open to help people with unexpected health needs. Having a stable healthcare network is vital. Virginia hospitals are our lifeline.
It's amazing what my students with special needs can accomplish. Their pride is priceless. That's why I teach.
Brought to you by the Virginia Education Association, because a good education is good for everybody.
Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.
Welcome to This Week in Richmond, and a very special welcome back to Secretary Nancy Rodriguez. We've had the Secretary of Administration Rodriguez show before, and we're delighted to have it again, and appreciate your bringing colleagues with you. We'll tell our guests that they'll be seeing not only these two colleagues, but two others who will be joining us in the second half. Sarah Wilson, we thank you for being back, and Dina Potter, we thank you for being here. And as we move along, we'll get you to tell our viewers, if they don't know already, the areas that you're expert in and work in. So, Madam Secretary, why don't you start and then get your team involved?
Well, David, I am so delighted to be able to be back with you and your viewers and to tell them that we've had an exciting 2 years since we've been on. And I've brought back with me Sarah Wilson to talk a little bit about the progress we've made, and also to encourage your viewers to think about working for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yes.
It's the best of the states that are out there, and Sarah has a little bit of information. I am really grateful that Dina Potter has been able to join us, considering she was the chief communicator. You may have heard this recently. We had this little bicycle race.
You say
little.
You say little.
Little. And Dina was in charge of getting 11,000 state employees, along with Sarah's help, on and off the island. So, Sarah, why don't you share a little bit about where we're doing with succession planning, because I know the last time your viewers indicated to us, wow, I didn't realize that the workforce in the Commonwealth was graying so much.
That's right. We have, thank you, Nancy. It's nice to be back again.
Thank you for coming.
And so I want to encourage all the viewers to consider the Commonwealth as an employer of choice and to come work with us. We have incredible range of jobs, and we have higher turnover this year than we did last year, so the trend is up. And as the economy turns around, you tend to see a little bit more turnover at that time. So we'll be watching the tea leaves on that. So our turnover rate's about 13%, a little bit higher than the 10 or 11 that we have been running. So our average age is up a little bit too, and that is really linked to when they can get their health care. So as we have turnover, we have about 12% eligible for full retirement today. That means there's more turnover, but even if they're eligible, they're not always retiring because of the cost of that health care insurance. So we have a very good policy, good plan, but when you retire, it's on your own. And so we'll see them stay later than even when they're eligible, just so they can get that health care insurance. So we've got all kinds of jobs, from everything from something in corrections or a sworn police like state police, to DMV, to behavioral sciences. We've got scientific glass blowers. Who knew? We have a scientific glass blower at Virginia Tech, yes. But and there's only
Now, is that
one.
vacant?
There's only one. It's not vacant yet, but we have all kinds of jobs, and some have one person in them, and some have thousands of them in them. So come on our website, Virginia Jobs, and you can see all the jobs that are currently available. And we encourage you to take a look, post your resume, and become a state employee. And there's such diversity out there in location. You can sort by location, the type of job that you want, and consider looking to the Commonwealth as a cool place to work.
And if I could just add, you would become part of the workforce that once had Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry.
correct.
So, I
They've-
mean, we
they've
are a
retired,
very
but-
elite workforce.
We
And
are truly special.
our state employees, especially after this week, as Dina can tell us, wow, what a great group of people, wouldn't you say, with the
Right.
employee zone and the bike race?
We had a big employee zone where people came out and we had employee talent. And I want to tell you, we had people that had play and sing. They were incredible. And that made quite a big hit. During lunchtime, we had food trucks and bands, employees entertaining their fellow workers. And I am so impressed of the quality of our employee talent. We couldn't take everyone that volunteered, so we had to pare it down. They had to compete, and you had to send in a demo tape. And we have had more positive feedback from employees about how much fun. Now they want to do it monthly.
And that's what we should bring to David, maybe a little snippet
Yes.
for your show the next
Yeah, it was
time.
excellent.
Dina?
Yeah, when we started, in the months and even year leading up to the bike race, we had about 11,000 employees who were a little anxious about not only how they would get to their office, but how they would get home, how they would leave in the middle of the day, and then just what to expect from this. Cycling is not huge in America, unfortunately. Maybe after this weekend it will be.
It will be, yeah.
But our job I'm the Director of Communications for the Department of General Services, and because we touch so much of state government, we wanted to ensure people you could get to your parking, you could get to your office, and just, put that good face forward for Virginia. So we wanted everyone to not be anxious, to be really looking forward to the race, and I think we were able to do that.
Accomplish that.
Yeah.
So the talent shows that took place, I suppose you have that recorded, maybe some of it?
Some of it, yes, we
Some of
do.
it we
We have
do.
a lot of
Yes.
pictures. We were tweeting those out and putting those on Instagram, and thankfully, it wasn't just state employees. We had visitors, spectators from other countries who would come and watch some of the state employee acts. It was wonderful.
And it really, with this amplification and the speakers, you could really hear it, particularly the VCU pep band. The Peppas were there. They rocked. They were incredible, and people all up and down Governor Street. Everyone had to turn and look, and it really entertained the whole crowd because the whole crowd got into it. They were
And
with
the
the music.
governor.
And the governor came
of
over and
Virginia
visited.
Played the
With
trombone.
the First Lady,
Yes,
yeah,
tried
yeah,
to
the little.
anyway.
So it really quite
yeah.
energetic, and really for the employees that came in and fought the traffic, they were great and great participants. The employee talent was terrific, and I was amazed at what we had. It was terrific. Didn't you think?
Yes, and we not only wanted to provide the state employees something, we wanted to give the opportunity for them to give back. So we used the race as a catalyst for charitable, for CBC
right.
fundraisers. So we had some of the proceeds every day from the food trucks, and then also one day where the agencies provided the food, we sold wristbands, so we're trying to give back to some charities
Yeah,
in
we
Virginia.
did. Yeah, absolutely. 5% of the proceeds from the food trucks, so the employees like that. And then one of our employees, Bob Crawford, donated barbecue. And all that went to the Employee Assistance Fund.
Oh.
So I'm just really impressed at the volunteerism, and our charitable giving was outstanding. We're tallying the votes, or I'd share the total with you now to see what the proceeds were. But state employees step up every year, and we are so proud of what they do in charitable giving and the outreach. So we think we've done a lot to help the community here.
And Sarah, I think we safely can say it's in the thousands of dollars. It's
Yes,
not.
oh, yes, yes,
It's
yes.
definitely. I mean, the barbecue alone was close to $1,000
That's
just
correct.
for the
Oh,
barbecue.
that's wonderful.
That's correct.
So
Yes.
our state employees truly are amazing individuals who work so hard and are so dedicated.
They are that.
And we are
And
happy
talented.
and we're happy to report the last time we were together, we had 1,900 state employees on food stamps. We had 3,900 doing federal assistance. We're so glad government does work, that the governor and the legislature got together and our state employees
2% raise.
received a 2% raise, first time since 2000.
Well, they've had some, but for a net take-home increase, it was first time since 2007. But we also got the long service longevity one that helps separate, because when you get compression and
raise.
when you hire, the market moves, but if you don't give a raise, you don't. So the new hires are paid higher than the people who are there. That causes morale problems. So we were able to, with what the General Assembly and the governor put together, we were really able to hopefully start on the road back to make a difference.
Excellent. What else is happening in general services?
Oh, general services is such a multifaceted department. It's hard to boil it down, but we have a lot of exciting things. Over in DCLS, the Division of Consolidated Laboratory Services, we added a new disorder to the panel for a newborn screening test. Every child born in Virginia is now tested for 29 different rare but deadly disorders. So we were very happy to add severe immunodeficiency disorder, or SCID. A lot of people know it as the bubble boy disease. We've got that. Of course, we have EVA, our electronic procurement system. Those numbers just keep going up. We have 96,000 vendors now registered through EVA. A very exciting program. It's an award-winning program, receives accolades nationwide. We won an award last year for the mobile apps we were able to put in place. Of course, our real estate services division, we have, I think, $126 million we've been able to save just through administered and renegotiated leases, and that's over the last 10 years. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on. Surplus property. We were able to divert a few Coast Guard boats to the city of Virginia Beach. They've already put those to use in a few rescue missions. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on at DGS.
That's good.
Well, that's great.
good.
Well, before this segment ends, Madam Secretary, what else can we get from these two of your compatriots?
Well, I think one of the things, you are really looking at the greatest assets that the Commonwealth has, our state employees and the buildings that go with the general public. Really, if these individuals weren't doing the job or stellar jobs that they were doing, they would go to buildings that were not usable, and they wouldn't have the employees there to be there. So, and I think you can also sense, you and hopefully your audience, that we're excited about what we do every day.
We are.
I mean,
Yes.
for us, when I checked with Dina and I said, well, we made it, we survived the bicycle race, their reaction is, when are we going to do it again? So I think
That's good.
that's it, and I'm hoping that some of your viewers will join this dynamic team.
Virginia Jobs.
Virginia Jobs, yes, sir.
That's what they need to look
.com.
up.
They need to look it up to come for recruitment. We got a terrific health benefits plan, great benefits. Come on down and join us
So they can
across the Commonwealth.
Can they submit a resume and then it
They can
stays there for a certain
yes,
length of time
it's
while
online.
they're, even if they don't find a job today that they want?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's available online, and you can keep several versions available, so you just hit send.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being on This Week in Richmond, and our viewers, stay tuned. They'll see two other of your colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Nancy, we're delighted to have two additional colleagues with you, Robin DeSocio and Edgardo Cortez, and we'll have them tell our viewers the areas of their expertise. But if you want to start this segment off, or
Well, David, again, thank you for giving us the ability to come back and just talk how we did a couple of years ago. And at that time, as you will recall, and Robin will talk a little bit because she's head of the compensation board, and Edgardo is our commissioner of elections.
and
but
he wasn't the last time. So
he was
he's-
not.
That's right.
He was
He's
not.
He's
So
newer. Yeah.
So he is new to the mix, but has picked it up and kept the ball running. But as you know, and your viewers know from our last time here, we are in our 4-year cycle in office, because we all come with expiration dates. This will sadly be the year, this November, where it will be potentially the lowest voter turnout. And when you recognize that everyone that is up this November will have certainly the most impact on the life of Virginians, because as Robin will talk a little bit, all of the constitutional officers are up. That's your Commissioner of Revenue, your Treasurer, your Sheriff, your Commonwealth Attorney. People that interact, what they do on a daily basis affects each and every viewer. And then in addition to that, with Agardo, it will be an election where the entire General Assembly will be up. So all 140 members of the legislature. But Robin just shared an interesting statistic with us before we went on air.
Well, as you know, because we spoke a bit ago or a year or so ago, that all of our constitutional officers are locally elected, and so when they go to the polls locally, they vote for those individuals to represent them, the sheriffs, the Commonwealth's attorneys, the circuit court clerks, treasurers, and commissioners of the revenue. All of those officers are on a 4-year cycle except for the circuit court clerk, and so the circuit court clerk is on an 8-year cycle, and this year just happens to be the year that they will also be running. So ordinarily, the offices are split, so every 2 years you have a different group running. For example, all of the county constitutional officers will be running this year, and then in 2 years you'll have all of the city constitutional officers, but because the clerks are on an 8-year cycle, they sometimes cycle in and out. This year we have all county constitutional officers, including all county clerks. We have quite a number of retirements, so we expect well over 100 new constitutional officers coming in January, and that's out of a little over 600. So that'll be pretty significant turnover for constitutional officers at the local level. And that'll be interesting for us because then that means, as we've talked about before, one of our roles is to assist these officers on a daily basis. So we'll be spending a lot of time with them in the coming months, getting to know them, helping them to understand sort of how they work with our office and how they work with the state government, how we support them through a state appropriation. And that's just, one of those things that they aren't really thinking about when they're running for office, because obviously the sheriff is thinking about law enforcement and the clerk is thinking about the courts and those responsibilities. And so then they'll come in and they'll realize that they have an interface with us, and we'll spend some time working with them and trying to get them up to speed on how they interact with both us and local government to support their constituents. So that'll be a busy time for us coming up.
It will be.
In January.
And you were saying a low voter turnout, but as people know, we have an election every year in Virginia, at least one every year, and sometimes
we do. We have a primary scheduled every. We don't always have one, but we have primary scheduled every June, and then a general election in November. So we do have, as Nancy mentioned, the entire General Assembly up. We have constitutional officers. We also have a lot of local offices on the ballot, boards of supervisors, all the mayors, all sorts of local offices that really do have a daily impact on Virginians' lives. When you're talking about all sorts of things that impact you, from schools to taxes to everything, and so it is very important for eligible Virginians to go out and register to vote and participate in November's elections. And so we at the department have had a big focus on making the process easier for eligible Virginians to participate. So we have things now like online voter registration available. So you can go on to our website at elections.virginia.gov 24 hours a day. You can check your voter registration status, make sure your information is up to date. You can find out what's going to be on your ballot. You can see what offices and what candidates are on your ballot. You can find out where your polling place is. You get directions to your polling place. There's all sorts of information that you can get on our website 24 hours a day. And so we've really have been working to expand access to that information and make it easier for voters to participate in the process.
And I think we're in the time frame now that people can go to their local registrar and vote absentee, vote in person absentee if they qualify for one of the 20-some reasons?
Yeah, that's right. We have started absentee voting for the November election. You can vote absentee by mail or absentee in person. And so you're right. There are a number of reasons where if you are not going to be able to participate on election day, you can still get a ballot in advance and vote absentee. And so the deadline for in-person absentee voting, you have until October 31st to go to your registrar's office in person to cast the ballot. And October 27th is the deadline to request an application by mail. So that is something that's available to all eligible Virginians.
You know, with all the constitutional officers, all the other local officials, and with the General Assembly, my editorial comment is that it's a shame that it's such a low voter turnout in the cycle. Maybe this one will be different, but it tends still to be the lowest of the four election cycles, 4 years.
And David, if I can pick up on that, if your viewers care about the quality of education for their children, their school boards in the counties are up for grabs this November. So if they're concerned about their property tax on a local level, I mean, this is where the rubber hits the road, and it becomes so incredibly important. And again, Edgardo and his team also are in the process with voter registration. And the voter registration period is still open, as well as absentee voting. But what's been disturbing, because as you know, David, in the past, I also served as the chief election officer. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse for Edgardo, having been in his shoes. But I would say roughly 9%, almost 10% of Virginians are registered to vote in the wrong place. We are a very mobile society. We move, we change, and we forget to update that as well. So in addition to that, one other thing, since I know time is running out for us, David, I also wanted to mention one key area that Robin Shop has really been involved with, and that is the area of mental illness in the jails. I don't think your viewers are aware of the fact that Virginia was the first state.
Right. We, in addition to dealing with the constitutional officers on a daily basis, of course, one of them is the sheriff. And so sheriffs operate our local jails. And then there are also approximately 25 regional jails in Virginia, which are comprised of a multitude of localities that have formed together to join regional jails that are then managed by all of their participating member jurisdictions. And so one of the things, there are a number of different things that we do at the Compensation Board in addition to our day-to-day interactions with the constitutional officers, and that's a number of reporting areas. So, one of the things we do is the mental illness. We also look at jail costs in Virginia. We look at court fines and costs. But one of the areas that we've really been working on in the last few years is identifying the problem of mental illness in jails and trying to identify the number of inmates who are incarcerated in jail who have also mental illness issues, whether they be severe mental illness or more anxiety, depression type issues. But there is, a significance to the mental illness problem in jails in Virginia. And so we do a lot of reporting, just trying to gather information on how many are mentally ill, what the types of illnesses are, and how they're being assessed in the jails, how they're being treated, how much it costs to treat, that type of thing. That's something that's become a very big issue in public safety in Virginia, is dealing with the mentally ill who are incarcerated. And so that's a report that we started putting together several years ago, where we pull information from the jails every year. And I am not aware of other states doing a similar report, just as I'm not aware of other states doing the cost report that we do for jail expenses and revenues either. So we have a number of different day-to-day reporting activities, things that we do on the side as an administrative agency that go beyond just our day-to-day interactions with the constitutional officers.
Closing word from you, Madam Secretary?
I know the governor would disagree with this statement. But I have to make it. He thinks he has the best job in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I really do. As Secretary of Administration, your audience just got a brief glimpse of
Yes.
the people I get to work with. It's such a joy and an honor to serve. And David, thank you for inviting us into the homes of your viewers and for giving this this opportunity to showcase.
Well, thank you. Thank all three of you. And for all the right reasons, we encourage people to make sure they do vote this year.
Thank you.
I sometimes get in trouble with members of the General Assembly because I think the constitutional officers, the other local officials may drive the election results up. So we shall see. But thank you all very
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you.
David.
Thank you.
This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Dignity Memorial, caring for our communities with a network of funeral homes and cemeteries in Virginia and throughout North America. More information about Dignity Memorial's providers is online at dignitymemorial.com.
Alpha Natural Resources, a leader in mine safety and an environmental steward.
The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community. For jobs, the economy, and public health, Virginia Hospitals, our lifeline.
The Virginia Education Association, because a good education is good for everybody.
Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.